OBS is on. YouTube is live.
Once I plug the headset in, I will not be able to hear you or the game. You'll be able to hear me, but I won't be able to hear you. Okay. Right.
Good evening, sports fans. Welcome to a special Sunday night edition of League 1 college football. It's week 2. The number 8 Navy Midshipmen are hosting the number 14 Washington Huskies. And without further ado, we're going to turn it over to the voice of Navy football, Coach Spector. Coach.
Good evening, sports fans. Welcome to another exciting edition of League 1 football. This is a user versus user matchup. Coach Six Gun Ninja will be hosting Coach SweetestCoin in this top 25 contest between these two normally successful user teams. As you see the rankings, the ratings there, 97 overall to 91 overall in favor of the home team. A little bit closer in offense than they are in defense, but still a very good Washington Husky roster nonetheless. Washington coming off a thrilling 27-24 victory over Indiana, another user in week 1. That one being played in Seattle. They take to the road for the first time this year. And they will be traveling to Annapolis, Maryland, where the Navy Midshipmen, coming off a week 1 neutral site loss to the number 1 ranked Syracuse Orangemen last week in MetLife Stadium in Meadowland, East Rutherford, New Jersey. Number 1 midshipman booster, Leon, offering his hopes that it is a good game. Be curious to see what kind of weather we have in Annapolis today. I know the DC area is hot, steamy, and muggy. One suspects in this late summer afternoon affair in Annapolis that the weather might be similar, not too far in the distance. You see some numbers there after one game. Both offenses close in points scored. Defensively, Navy a little bit better against the run than the pass in the previous game. Same goes for the Huskies. And Navy held to an uncharacteristic 22 yards on the ground in the first game, while the Huskies a bit more balanced. It's a night game as the sun is setting here in Annapolis. And we'll get to the coin toss here in just a minute, but I'd like to welcome to the booth our color commentary, Coach Blitzkrieg, the head coach, the new head coach at the University of Minnesota. He'll be joining me today to offer another angle, another viewpoint for this exciting affair. Coach Blitzkrieg still figuring out the machinations of his microphone. He is currently muted, and the University of Minnesota has an excellent broadcast department. I'm sure he'll have some assistance up there in the booth from the AV department of the Golden Gophers to help him get his microphone on shortly. He's having some technical difficulties, not his fault, a little bit of trouble with the equipment. He should be with us shortly. In the meantime, we are set to kick off, and it is Navy kicking off to Washington. That means the midshipmen will receive the second half kickoff, and we are underway in Annapolis, Maryland. Navy on defense first. The touchback means the Huskies will take over at the 25. 75 yards the goal. A stop. Navy's mission. Washington taking their time in the huddle. They selected a play, and we will get this game underway here with the first play from the scrimmage coming up very shortly. First and 10 from the 25 for the Huskies. They line up with two backs in the backfield, and Navy responds with 3-3-5. It's a run up the gut and stopped for a gain of 1. Aaron Hunter on the carry, his first carry of the day. Gets a 1 positive yard, and it's going to be 2nd and 9 here from the 26.
Yeah, Navy's really showing, their ground defense. It's really kind of ironic to me that Navy is so good at ground defense, given that Navy is, well, Navy, but he really is that good.
Indeed, the Department of the Navy, having taken part in some ground action over the years, most notably on Okinawa during World War II. And you'll notice Okinawa is one of the many names of naval battles lining the edge of the stadium here in Annapolis. 11 personnel for the Huskies, 4 down linemen for the midshipmen here on 2nd and 9. Give up the gut for the Huskies. Chad Foster gets no gain on the play. Now going to be 3rd down, 9 yards to go, and it looks like the Huskies are going no huddle. Just 1 minute into the ball game, single back set and rolling out to the right. And just at the last minute, coverage was broken. It's going to result in a big play. It's a 49-yard gain to the back, Chad Foster, playing at the wide opposition following the no huddle. Buster Oliver able to get his first completion of the day, and it goes for 49 yards all the way down to the Navy 25-yard line. First and 10 for the Huskies, just about 90 seconds into the ball game. On the opening drive of the football game, locked in a scoreless affair here in the early going. Both teams breaking the huddle, and it's a spread set for the Huskies. Single back of the backfield. Navy responds with 3 down linemen. Back to pass, and throwing into the flat, and it's broken up. Buster Oliver's first incompletion of the day as the Navy defense swarmed the receiver. It was to back out of the backfield, and it results in no gain. That's going to be 2nd and long. 2nd and 10 from the 25-yard line as they break the huddle. Single back set for the Huskies. 3-3-5 for Navy. Oliver takes the snap, hands it off up the gut, and stuffed by the defense is Chad Foster. The loss of 3 on the play, going to bring up 3rd and long, 3rd and 13. And once again, Washington goes no huddle into 3rd and long. Offense scrambling around, defense trying to make adjustments. Oliver in a shotgun set, surveying the defense. Oliver patting his chest and pointing, now drops back, rolling a little bit to the right, and it's caught. A 13-yard gain by Kenny Bracken. The route broke just on the other side of the first down marker, and he gets out of bounds, but not before he plants a foot into the turf, making it a legal catch, and 1st and 10 from the 15 for the Huskies. Second time this drive, they converted 3rd and long.
But in both instances, you'll notice the margin for error was slim to none. I mean, it's okay to get away with 1 or 2 of these, but it's not something you can bank on. You know, there's a big wall in my hometown that says hope is not a strategy, and I'd like to see some more consistent and reliable strategies implemented throughout the game.
We will see as events unfold. So far here in the early going, just 2.5 minutes into the affair. 1st and 10 here for the Huskies from just inside the 15, actually. 11 personnel for Washington, facing off against 3 down linemen for Navy. Back to pass is Oliver, looking, surveying the field, and he is almost and then finally brought down. Buster Oliver sacked for a loss of 13 yards. Going to be 2nd and a mile when they reset as Ray Flynn, able to get to the quarterback. The second man who arrived on the scene brings Oliver down for the big loss.
Like the Romans at the Battle of Tutborg Forest, they got a little bit too comfortable in enemy territory, didn't do all their homework, and it really came back to bite them.
Now 2nd and 23 from just inside the 30. Off in the distance, you can see the first down marker. Washington will try to make a dent in that here. Navy trying to prevent such. 3-3-5 defense for the middies. Oliver in the shotgun set, surveying the field, now takes the snap, rolls a little bit to his right, all the way to his right, and checking it across the field, across his body, and Ryan Downs, the star free safety for Navy, making his 2nd interception in as many games. He had a first quarter interception last week. He's got a first quarter interception this week, both on the opponent's opening drives. And just like that, the turnover battle now 1-0 in favor of Navy. And they will take over possession at their 25 with the stop.
Exactly what I'm talking about, those high-risk, low margin of error strategies. They're going to come back and they're going to get you.
Now back to pass is Peter Moss. Peter Moss, the sophomore phenom for Navy, completes his first pass at the 7-yarder, rolling just slightly to the right before hitting Reggie Henry on the crossing route from right to left across your radio dial. Goes for 7 yards. Going to be 2nd and 3 now from the 31. Now here on 2nd and 3, the give up the gut, Bright, the power back, 99 overall, star of the Navy offense. His first carry goes for 3 yards, going to be 3rd and inches from the 34-yard line as we cross the halfway point of the first frame. Up the gut to Scott. The fullback picks up the first down, 2-yard gain. It'll be a fresh set of downs for the midshipmen as they convert their first 3rd down opportunity. Now the ball resting at the 36-yard line. 1st and 10 for the midshipmen here on their opening drive of the ball game. Navy breaking the huddle here. Just inside the 3-minute mark, they've got a shotgun split big formation with 2 tight ends and 2 backs facing off against 4 down linemen for the Huskies. 2:42 and rolling on the clock remaining in the first quarter. Peter Moss up the gut to Bright. Joe Bright picks up 2. Going to be 2nd and 8 when they return to the field of play following a brief committee meeting on both sides of the ball. The 38-yard line is where the ball rests. We're locked early on in a 0-0 deadlock. Washington having had 1 possession, if you're just joining us. The Huskies had their opening possession and got a big 49-yard play down inside Navy's territory, deep in Navy territory. They got down to the 15-yard line before throwing an interception after a sack on 1st down, put the ball deep on 2nd and 23. Now, Navy on their opening drive of the game has their 2nd 3rd down of the game. 3rd and 3 it will be from the 42-yard line, approaching midfield. Now with 5 wide receivers. One of them, Reggie Henry, masquerading as a wide receiver from the tight end position. 3rd down, 3 to go. Looks like a quarter set for Washington as Moss takes the snap. Breaks out to his left. Trying to find room, and he throws it across his body. It's complete to Terry. Looked like Navy was potentially thinking they might be across the line of scrimmage. I would be surprised if that was an intended pass. Maybe it was, but that had the appearance of Navy trying to make moves there on the ground with Peter Moss. They were just a few yards from the 1st down marker. And whereas that happened in a previous game recently for Navy, without success, the ball falling homage to the turf, this time it works out perfectly as the receiver breaks open and makes a leaping catch for a big play for the midshipmen. That'll keep you on your toes. 1st and 10 now, just inside the 30. That big play moving a nice chunk there for the midshipman offense as Leonard Scott picks up 1 yard on 1st down. Now going to be 2nd and 9 Scott's second carry of the day for 3 yards. Navy breaking the huddle. Single back set, 11 personnel here on 2nd and 9 in the winding seconds of the first frame. Scoreless here as both teams have had one drive. Navy has not completed their first drive. This is it right here. They pick up a few yards, going to be 3rd and 4 on the 5-yard catch to Reggie Henry. And that will be the final play of the first quarter. We end the first quarter scoreless. So far, 1 turnover against Washington. And Navy on their opening possession driving down to the 23-yard line, but facing another 3rd down. Navy surveys the field. Peter Moss in the shotgun set, looking over the defense. And caught in traffic, Reggie Henry right in between 2 defenders. The pass threading the needle in between the defenders, finding a safe space in the hands of star tight end Reggie Henry. That's going to be a conversion, and it results in a 1st and goal for the midshipmen here in the shadow of the goalposts of the Huskies. Breaking the huddle here on 1st and goal. Going to be shotgun split big. 2 tight ends, 2 backs, facing off against the 3-3-5 defense. Machinations at the line of scrimmage for the Husky defense. Play clock winding down. There's the snap. Moss on the quarterback keeper, off to the left, and he is off to the races, into the end zone. Into the paint he goes. Drops the ball to the turf nonchalantly, and just like that, the midshipmen strike first. Touchdown, Navy. Following the kickoff, Washington taking over for their 2nd possession of the ball game. Their first resulted in an interception following a huge offensive play down deep into Navy territory. Now the handoff up the gut and a little bit of running room. Picks up 4 yards for Chad Foster on the handoff from Buster Oliver. And it'll be 2nd and 6 rather, after the 4-yard gain, as the Huskies try to regroup and knot this affair at 7. Navy trying to hold their early momentum. Second and 6, and the give up the gut is going to result in a 3rd and short. Breaking news coming in just now, as of 4 minutes ago. The professional football team based in the state of New England at a small place called Foxborough has just signed a new quarterback. They have signed former Panthers quarterback Cam Newton. Cam Newton going to the Patriots. Just within the last few minutes, the deal finalized.
Ouchtown, population Boston.
3rd and 2 here for Washington. Back to the action at hand. And it's a quarterback keeper, and the defense was ready for it. Buster Oliver tackled for a loss of 1. Going to be 4th and 3. They tried to catch Navy sleeping, but the Middies were wide awake. And the Huskies forced to punt deep in their own territory. We'll remind our viewers that in League One, you are allowed 12 fourth downs over the course of the regular season. You may spend them whenever or however you wish, but you get 12 for all 12 regular season games. It makes you think about when and how you might want to use them. You don't go for 4th down typically deep in your own territory early in the game. And Washington taking the smart course of action there, punting the ball away. Now, Navy will take over in good field position at their own 45-yard line, trying to add to their 1-touchdown lead.
No, I think Cam Newton's really going to like it up in New England. I mean, there's some pretty waspy old ladies, and, he dresses like one already. I think he's going to fit right in.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, he and Belichick will be able to share wardrobes. Belichick known for his feathered boas as well. Man in motion, and the give to Bright up the gut. Out of the pistol set. Joe Bright picks up 6, going to be 2nd and 4. Bright off to a 3-carry, 11-yard start here in the first half. Ball at the 49-yard line. 2nd and manageable. 7-0 Navy. Two tight ends set here for the midshipmen. In the eye tight. 3-down linemen responding for Washington. A little bit of shifting there at the line of scrimmage. Peter Moss, 5th in the Heisman race last year as a redshirt freshman. The sophomore phenom surveying the defense. And he gives it up to Bright, up the gut. The 99 overall halfback picks up 2 in a crowd. It's now going to be 3rd and 2 from Washington territory at the 47. Third down, 2 to go, and up the gut to Bright. He's got enough of a lane. He's got the first down and then some, 9 yards through the heart of the Husky defense. And here in the middle of the second quarter, Navy continues to matriculate the ball down the field. Ball now resting at the 38-yard line of Washington. 1st and 10 for the Middies. These two users have met before a few times in League One with mixed results over the years. We are in season 18 of League One. A lot of history in this league. A lot of repeat matchups among many longtime users. Shotgun split big for the Middies. Crowded front for Washington. Man in motion, and Scott takes the ball, the fullback up the gut, picks up 8. Going to be second down and short. 2 yards to go. Those situations always allow coaches to perhaps experiment a little bit. They might go deep downfield. They might call a play that sets up another play further down the road. No smart coach wastes a second and short. They are tools to be used. We'll see how Navy executes this one. Lining up in an I normal this time. Washington making adjustments. Moss as well. Machinations at the line of scrimmage. The give to Bright through both the A and B gap, right in between the guard and center. Technically the A gap, but it was a little bit more to the right as the line broke. Call it about the A.5 gap. But nevertheless, results in a nice gain. Going to be first and 10 at the 18-yard line. We're under the 3-minute mark here in the first half. Navy on their second possession. Washington having had 2 of their own. Right now, the score, Navy ahead 1-0. First and 10. Shotgun split big. 3 down linemen for Washington. Man in motion and up the gut to Bright. He's met in the backfield. Multiple defenders there forming a welcoming party. And they prevent him from getting back to the line of scrimmage. Now going to be second and 12 from the 20. .220 on a running clock. Navy obviously would like to avoid giving Washington too much time before the half. That's why they're coming up to the line and letting some of that clock drip off. A little bit of careful strategery here between these two coaches. Second down and 12 in the eye tight. Let's see what happens. Back to pass goes Moss, looking to his right, finding Williams on the drag route from left to right across your radio dial. It's good for 6 yards to the famous composer, John Williams. He took some time off from doing the most recent Star Wars score and has fulfilled his lifelong dream of playing tight end for Navy.
And one of the more critical things there is he stayed in bounds. Coach Ninja, honestly, if you ask me, of all the members of League One, is probably the best at clock management. He's really, really good about manipulating things so it lines up the way he wants it. And having played him a number of times, I can tell you how aggravating it can be to have someone who has such a tight hold on the clock.
I'm sure he's aware of the seconds remaining on the clock. The timeout forced from Washington, elicited from Washington. 3rd and 6 now, big down. Spread set, quarter defense. Moss drops back, looking and throwing, and Mays breaks free late. He was well covered early. A little bit of faith there from Peter Moss to Drew Mays. Drew Mays, the young up-and-coming wide receiver, had a big game, 100-yard debut last week against the number 1 ranked Syracuse Orange. This week, making a big catch there for a first down in heavy traffic. Very close run affair, but the result is 1st and goal from the 3, and now the clock moving once again.
Fun fact, he's actually related to the great Billy Mays. That's where he gets the, but wait, there's more after the reception.
Up the gut they go. Joe Bright falls forward, picks up a yard, going to be 2nd and goal, and the Huskies forced to spend their second timeout.
It's funny. We have Pete Carroll on the sideline. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, just saying that they called the timeout to afford them a little bit of time. And yes, Pete Carroll, not the play caller here. Off to the left side and stopped once again. Joe Bright, no gain, and Washington forced to call their third and final timeout. It's going to be 3rd and goal at the 1 yard line with 1:12 remaining in the half.
You know, if you ask me, that's actually ideal. You know, I mean, he's got another, stab and a half at this. You know, he can go for it on 4th if he really wants to, but it really puts him at an advantage, with the time clock. He's got his opponent that spent all 3 of his timeouts. He's kind of running this no matter which way it goes.
Indeed, there's a bright side to the series of events. The downside being, of course, if they are stopped, it'll be a tough decision to make. Here on 3rd goal.
The offense calls a timeout.
And now a timeout from Navy. They want to make sure they have the right play call. Peter Moss stuffed up the gut, and now a very tough decision. Goal from the 1. Good news is it's a running clock. Bad news is it's 4th down. Looks like the midshipmen are going to take the play clock and the game clock all the way down. They want to get every second possible off the clock before they call their second timeout and decide what exactly it is they want to do. Looks like they do want to spend one of their 12 4th downs. They're going to line it up here on 4th and goal from the 4-inch line.
It's times like this I like to quote the great Pepper Brooks, who once said, "Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for him."
And touchdown by Leonard Scott, the fullback, able to get a yard. Boasting 2 touchdowns.
Well, it's not impossible to do something with 30 seconds, but we haven't seen a whole. It doesn't look good.
More difficult without the timeouts, that's for sure. And now they break the huddle. Now we will see what they intend to do. Spread set. Quarter defense. Back to pass is Buster Oliver, rolling to his right. Hits a man, gets out of bounds, spends 4 seconds to do so. First and 10 with 26. He's going to go no huddle despite going out of bounds. Trying to catch the defense off guard, perhaps. Rolling a little bit to the right. Caught for the first down. That'll stop the clock momentarily. And again, no huddle they go. Pope on the reception. He wears a funny hat with a chin strap. And back to pass is Oliver over the middle, deep, and caught. Alex Sanchez with a 20-yard catch. It's a clutch catch that gets them into Navy territory. They're at the 35, trying to get points. And Navy is going to spend a timeout. They don't like the look on defense. They want to get a new package out there and reestablish themselves. 18 seconds left in the half. No timeouts for either team now. A first down will momentarily stop the clock. Out of bounds will completely stop the clock, as will an incompletion. A lot of strategery here going on from both huddles. Shotgun spread offense, and Oliver takes the snap, rolls to his right again, and caught and out of bounds. Alex Sanchez picks up 5. He gets out of bounds. That'll stop the clock, and yet Washington goes no huddle again. 14 seconds on the clock. Surveying, caught, and tackled short of the first down. That's going to keep the clock. I doubt Washington will be able to run another play. We'll see if they are. Indeed, they won't be. We will go to halftime. Washington comes up short on the clock, not on the yardage. They can't steal some points before the half. It is 14-0 Navy at the break. We will pause for about 6 minutes. We'll throw some stats up on the screen for you, and we'll be back in about 6 minutes. My compatriot here may give you some thoughts at the break as to how he thinks the first half has transpired.
Well, so far I like what I'm seeing, honestly, and I think both players are playing, or both coaches are coaching true to form. We're seeing a pretty methodical and rather conservative play style out of Coach Ninja. We've actually seen him break form just a tiny bit. He's been a little bit more aggressive than we see usually. Like he's going for that fourth down. Honestly, I thought he was going to kick a field goal. He strikes me as the guy who would usually take the field goal, but given that it was, the fourth down and, inches. I mean, we're talking about, as little as we're the football is asymptotically approaching the goal line here. I mean, it's just, I like the decision. I really do. Washington, they're doing well, but they're a little bit high risk for me right now. And frankly, I think we're starting to see, how that high risk play style really isn't, paying off. I've been there myself as a coach. I've lived on the edge and I've been burdened by it quite badly a number of times. And I know that it's when it's great, but when it's bad, it's real bad, and it weighs on you. But a 14-0 game at the half, that's really nothing to be too concerned about. 14 points in a college game can be pretty easily won. We've seen games where there's been, 21 point, 28 point, 32 point fourth quarters. It is possible, so I wouldn't count anybody out. Looking at the time of possession, though, Navy is really running the ball. Going back to that time clock comment, Navy, they run the clock like they're holding that stopwatch in their hand. They know what they're doing, and they make the clock their ally at all times. If I were Washington, I would definitely spend more time capitalizing on the clock and kind of make it work for your favor. But then again, having made that mistake many times myself, I understand why, and how that doesn't always go your way. Let's see here. in general, yeah, I think this game's going well. I think we have an exciting second half coming up for us, and I'd like to hear any other thoughts. But then again, I could just be talking to myself, which is fine too. I do that plenty, It's how it is. When you're up in Minnesota, there's not a whole lot of people to talk to. It's just a bunch of ice and some cows over, a little bit to the east. So you know how it is. Um, but that's about it. Yeah. Bright doing exceptionally well. He always lives up to his name. He does shine bright. He is an exceptional player, and he puts on a show everywhere he goes. He does well. Same thing. Henry's doing well. Terry and Mays, they're all doing great. Let's see here. Got Terry with that 128-yard reception. That was pretty awesome, but pretty high risk at the same time. Hampton, on defense, going 2 tackles for losses. Doing real well. We've got some solid defense going on here as we cycle through these things. Let's see here. We're just switching over to Washington. We go up to the top here at passing. We've got 7 completions out of 9 attempts for 111 yards. Not bad at all. 77%, highly respectable. 15, almost 16 yards average, and that 50-yard long was pretty clutch. Let's be real. He's only gone down once, so he's still with it. He's not banged up, and quarterback wear and tear is something you got to factor in. If you're getting hit up a lot, quarterback is such a finesse position. I mean, if you bang up a Ferrari too much, it's just not going to take the corners as well as it would if it was clean. So it's good to see that he's in good shape. Foster doing all right. He's not really getting out there too much. But we could see him coming out later because right now he's only at 1.2 yard average. But it is possible for him to break free. Maybe he'll catch something. I mean, I don't know his speed stat, but he could get out and really break one off. Okay, got some cool receiving stats here. Sanchez, he's got some good receptions. He's just shy of averaging a first down for every catch. He's a pretty reliable receiver, and for 74, that's really quite a guy. You don't usually see such consistency out of a guy with that number, but he's doing well, and he's a freshman 74, so he's going to be someone special in a couple of years. A Pope, maybe related to Alexander Pope, or maybe he could just be a Pope. We're not sure. Maybe he's Pope Leo the 13th, or maybe he's a Pope John. There's only about 500,000 of them. But anyway, name jokes aside, they're doing all right over there. All right. Evans, he's got 4 solo tackles, doing pretty good. He's had his moments, but the Washington defense is really kind of, they haven't found their groove just yet. But I've got some faith in them, and I think they're gonna come through pretty soon. Sometimes you just got to be like the Russians, in World War II, and give up ground and give up ground and give up ground, and just let your enemy, wear themselves out, and then you kind of go for it. It's a risky strategy, but it's worked in the past in real life, so we'll see how it goes. Exhaustion, defeat by exhaustion is theoretically possible. It's just it is a risky tactic, and you got to weigh the momentum on it too. Let's see here.
Yeah, it paid off in this week's Ole Miss and Syracuse game. Syracuse catching Ole Miss off guard with the no huddle early on, working to great effect. But you're right; it certainly exhausts your own players, and it's a high-risk strategy.
It certainly is, and you have to worry about how it affects your own players as well, because you may have exhausted the enemy, but you may not have the strength to rally yourself, and so it's really a double-edged sword.
You got to be smart about it. You have to spread the ball around. You can't involve the same player 2 plays in a row, and a savvy defense will pick up on that.
Yep. Let's see here.
Tackles spread around for Washington, as Navy's been spreading the ball to different areas of the field. All the points coming in the second quarter.
Well, it goes back to what I was saying earlier here. You know, a 14-point deficit, especially in a user-user game, really isn't something catastrophic at the half. I mean, we're seeing right now, you know, he scored 14 points in one quarter. It's doable on both sides, you know, the ball, you know, or for either person. And so I wouldn't write off Washington in any way, shape, or form. You know,
No,
we definitely
they were trailing by 13 in their previous game against Indiana and rallied for the win in the fourth quarter.
that is accurate. Yeah, they did. And so it's, you know, it is not sealed, right? And we're getting back into it.
Second half now getting underway as Washington will kick off. Navy getting the second half kickoff after Washington received the opening kickoff. We'll see what Navy has in store for their early second half strategy. They do hold the 14-0 advantage. One imagines they certainly would like to add on to that and put Washington in a larger hole as they begin their offensive second half. Navy coming out in 11 personnel. It's a 3-3-5 defense for Washington. Back to pass goes Moss on the angle route to Bright. Joe Bright out of the backfield picks up the first down and a couple more. It's a 12-yard gain on the first play from scrimmage in the second half. Moss with the August 8th, 1988 passing line so far. A lot of game left to be played. A lot of things can transpire. Ball now out to the 32-yard line after Navy started at the 20. Out of the huddle they come. Three down lineman. Split big out of the shotgun set. Man in motion is Bright. He goes up the gut. He is tackled. There's a flag on the play, a likely face mask. Those heinously ugly Revolution face masks, fairly easy to grab a hold of as they stick out so far away from the helmet. A tempting target for any defensive player's digits. That's going to be a 15-yard penalty tacked on to the carry. It's going to result in 1st and 10 now into Washington territory. First and 10. Bright stumbled a little bit, but still able to get positive yardage. They'll call it 3. Now a few yards into Washington territory are the midshipmen. .6:43 on a rolling clock as they break the huddle, facing 2nd and 7 from about the 45-yard line. Shotgun split big, tight set, as is the preferred custom of the midshipmen in more than half of their plays. 3-3-5 bear front, and it's broken out to the left side wide by Moss. He ran to beat and catches him only 1 yard shy of the end zone, but a massive play puts Navy over the 100-yard rushing mark and gives them a first and goal at the 1 yard line. They're knocking at the doorstep after that big run by Peter Moss.
Yeah, there's a pun in there about a Rolling Stone gathering no moss, but frankly, I'm just not smart enough to think of one.
Well, certainly no moss gathered there. He was off to the races in the early going, and the defender down on the ground on the edge gave him a wide swath of territory for the forces of the U.S. Navy to take advantage of. Now first and goal, Moss well and heated up. 3-3-5 Bear. And into the end zone goes Joe Bright. Touchdown, Navy. The midshipmen now ahead by 20 points here in the early going of the third. Navy now set to kick off, leading by 3 scores. A few minutes into the second half, 5:51 on the clock as Washington will take over. Deep into the end zone it goes. The Huskies take the touchback. And it is now going to be 1st and 10 from the 25. Is where the referees will spot the football. Out of the huddle they come, the Huskies with 11 personnel. 3-3-5 set for Navy. Oliver up the gut to Chad Foster. He picks up 2 on the carry. Now going to be 2nd and 8. And to the no huddle they go. Back to pass now is Oliver, dropping way back, flinging it way deep, and it's picked up by Chad Bellamy. And the flag on the play on the tackle. It's going to be a face mask, 15 yards tacked onto the play as Foster brought Bellamy down by the face mask. The second turnover of the day, and Navy regains possession ahead by 3 scores following the interception.
The lesson we learned at the Halifax explosion. Things go wrong when you don't give enough room to the U.S. Navy.
Back to pass is Moss to Bright in the flat. Bright picks up positive yards, 4 to be in fact. It'll be 2nd and 6. Indeed, much like the Halifax explosion, little warning on that. Navy now in complete control, right where they want to be. If you had asked them at the beginning of the game what they would give up to be in this situation, and I suspect they would give up a solid backup player, maybe even a starter for a week or two. They're happy to have given up neither. So far, Bright up the gut.
Call it a gain of 2 yards. 3rd down.
Third and 4, the down and distance for the midshipmen. Trying to extend this lead even further. halfway through the third quarter. I believe I can speak fairly for Coach Ninja in saying still plenty of work to be done. He's a man who likes to hedge his bets and not overcommit. Indeed, the 3-yard pass by B.J. Fuller comes up 1 yard short. Going to be 4th and 1 from the 40-yard line. I'm not sure if Rawls is still on the roster for Navy. It would be a 57-yard kick here. That's not impossible. Difficult, but doable. Indeed, they are going to line up for the place kick. We'll see if they have the leg for it. They've got a 5-mile-an-hour tailwind. That may help. It's blowing in the right direction. Timeout. No, there's a flag on the play. A delay of game. A key delay of game. Navy took too much time coming out of the huddle. And it's going to result in a punt, potentially an elected choice by Navy. They may have not liked their chances on the field goal and voluntarily taken the delay of game to get the punting unit out onto the field. That's a possibility as well. I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibilities. The punt traveling down to the 11-yard line, caught. And the gunner brings him down. Austin Pope picks up 7 on the return. Going to be inside the 20-yard line, but just barely at the 19-yard line. Washington thankful to get the ball back without giving up points due to that second interception. Still trailing by 3 scores, still yet to score themselves.
But hey, they've actually, they've shown that they can kind of, step into this game a little bit. They've gained a little bit of momentum. They've shown they can stop the other side. This is an important, change in the wind here. We'll see how it develops.
Spread set for the Huskies. Back to pass is Oliver, rolling to his right, looking, and can't get the ball off in time. Too many defenders, too close to him, too much contact as he tried to throw. The ball falling harmlessly to the turf. Yes, indeed, Coach Leon. We can get a microphone boost on Coach Blitzkrieg by him speaking a little bit louder. I don't want to make Coach Six Gun Ninja make any technical adjustments on the feed right now, but I am aware that Coach Blitzkrieg has the ability to speak louder. I'm getting an update here that the accomplishment was made by Six Gun Ninja in between plays, acting on the fly, multitasking for your benefit, Coach Leon. We do everything we can. To give up the gut, and it's a loss of 3. So the altering of the volume not having a negative effect. In fact, possibly having a positive effect. If we could get Coach Six Gun Ninja to run back to the keyboard between every play, I'm sure we would get equal results every time. Third and a mile here for the Huskies offense, trying to come back. Spread set. Oliver in the shotgun. Drops back, looking, rolling to his right, and throwing to his right. Caught just before the marker, but he's able to turn. Austin Pope able to turn and get the necessary yardage for the first down. Oddly enough, that is the third and long conversion by the Huskies. Hard to believe, given the current state of affairs. 3-3-5 defense for Navy in response to the spread set by the Huskies. Oliver takes the snap, drops back, rolls to his right once again. Looking across his body once again, almost picked off. Foster Oliver channeling his best Brett Favre impersonation, saying, I don't care about the mechanics, I don't care about the physics, I will throw across my body when I damn well please.
Kind of much like Brett Favre, it was almost intercepted. I love Favre more than just about anybody else, but damn it, he threw a lot of interceptions.
He took a lot of chances. No risk it, no biscuit.
Indeed. Some people could dial that in a little bit. I think Jay Cutler took a few too many lessons from Brett Favre.
Indeed. Much like Babe Ruth being the all-time strikeout leader as well as second in the home run list. A lot of chances, gets some success and some not success. Up the gut to Chad Foster is going to bring up third and doable, 3rd and 6 to be true. Foster 7 carries for 8 yards so far. More a method to keep the defense honest than a centerpiece of the offense to date. 1:52 and counting on the clock. The Huskies in the huddle, trailing by 3 scores late in the 3rd quarter. Big 3rd and 6 coming here for Washington on their own 39. A conversion could keep some hopes alive. Navy hoping to snuff out those hopes. Oliver in the shotgun set, surveys the defense. 3-3-5 for Navy, dropping back and rolling to his right, throwing to his right. Caught short of the first down by Alex Sanchez, picks up 4, 66% of the necessary distance. And they're going to go no huddle into the 4th down play. No question, they're going to go for it. They're going to stay with the spread set. Back to pass is Oliver. And looking to his left, tackled, turnover on downs. He was tackled a few inches shy, makes the catch. They only needed 2. They got a foot and 8 inches, 4 inches shy. Story of my life. Navy now takes over in Washington territory, holding the 3-score lead. Eye-tight formation for the midshipmen. Moss under center this time. 3-3-5 defense. And Bright breaks the first tackle, and a group of defenders brings him down, but not before he picks up 7. That's going to result in 2nd and short, 3 yards to be exact, at the Washington 38-yard line. Navy coming out of the eye normal for 2nd and 3. We're in the final minute of the 3rd quarter. They lead by 3 touchdowns. Clock moving. Navy happy about that. And the handoff is disrupted as the defender got there quickly, and there's a... Let's see if it was down or not. We'll wait to see if there's a replay or if it goes to... He may have still been on his feet, but let's see if they want to review this. The booth says no. It's going to be Washington football. The defender was in the backfield so quickly that Moss was unable to get the handoff. And it was a busted play from the start. Multiple defenders on the scene quickly converging on Peter Moss, and the ball falling to the turf. Washington still alive mathematically. Handoff and tackled quickly. Chad Foster, loss of 2. Going to be 3rd down, 7 to go. 38-yard line, the marker. Washington football. 3 turnovers in this game so far, 2 on behalf of the Huskies, 1 just then against Navy. Scoreline 21-0 as we begin the fourth quarter. Into the final frame they go. Washington clinging to hope. Big third down coming here. Out they come. 3-3-5 defense for Navy meeting up. The spread set for Washington. Buster Oliver in the shotgun set. Drops back. Rolls to his left. Defenders converging. He can't get the pass off. It's going to be 4th and 7. And they're going to go to the no huddle again. And attempt another 4th down play. Washington expending several of their 3rd downs here in this ball game, or several of their 4th downs rather. Caught. This one is a good conversion. Austin Pope makes the 12-yard catch, extends the drive. Washington hanging on to hope. Easy. 11 personnel, fakes the handoff. It's a play-action pass. Oliver to his and sacked this time. Buster Oliver goes down for a loss of 8. Ronnie Hampton getting his first sack of the day, the star middle linebacker. Senior middle linebacker, 5th-year senior for the midshipmen, 4-year starter, multiple All-American. Coming up with a big play here in the fourth quarter. It's now going to be 2nd and long, 18 to be exact. Navy will come out in the 3-3-5. Or rather, the quarter defense. Complete to the sideline go the Huskies. Austin Pope with his 5th catch for 64 yards. Now going to be 3rd down, 4 yards to go. And Oliver rolls out to his right once again, throwing across his. Wide open was the player, Austin Pope once again. 24-yard gain. That's his 6th catch for 88 yards. Almost half of Washington's passing yardage. 20-yard line now. 1st and 10 for the Huskies. 6:47 remaining. Navy ahead by 3 scores. Oliver sends his team out to the line of scrimmage in a spread set. Looking, throwing to his left, caught by Robert Sims for 2. It's going to set up 2nd and 8. Oliver drops back and over the middle and deflected. Brandon Roach with his 2nd deflection of the day. The outside linebacker coming up with the play. And the result, 3rd and 8, 3rd down. Spread set for the Huskies. Corner defense for Navy. Washington trying to stay alive. The corner route deflected. It's going to be 4th down and 8. We'll see if Washington wants to go for down. They're going to line up in the field goal formation. They send the kicking unit out on the field. They do not want to be shut out. They want to get some points on the board and at least start to try to chip away at this lead. The clock is the enemy, as is both the Navy offense and defenses. But a field goal here is better than nothing. They've already expended a lot of 4th down attempts. And it's going to go up and through the uprights, and it does get the first points for Washington. It's a field goal. And Navy ahead 21-3 now, 6:21 remaining. And now Washington set to kick off regular. Team out there, ready for an touchback gives Navy the ball at their 25. They have 6:21 to go on the clock. They're up by 18 points. Now, under League One rules, that requires them to set the clock, the game management, to chew clock, which I'm sure they'll do shortly. And they can no longer run any no-huddle plays unless the scoreline gets back to 12 points or less. Back to pass and caught by Bright for a moment, but then dropped. Now going to be 2nd down and 10 to go. And we do see Navy changing the tempo to conservative as the bylaws require. They'll have to make some slight adjustments in terms of having less time at the line of scrimmage than they would if they came out early, but they have been running enough clock and playing this game long enough. I'm sure they'll be able to cope. They come out of the huddle with 12 seconds on the play clock, as is the default. And they line up in the I-tight formation. A play action pass give to Bright is faked, and then the pass falls harmlessly to the turf. That's just the 2nd incompletion today for Peter Moss. Now going to be 3rd down and 10 to go from their own 25-yard line. Spread set for the midshipmen. 5 receivers on the field. One is Bradley Henry. Back to pass goes Moss. Looking, throwing deep, and caught by Henry in traffic. A 25-yard gain. That's the 2nd time today, along with the slant to Mays earlier in the first half, where the defender had great position, but the ball finds its way into the receiver's hands. And Navy converts. We're at the midfield stripe. There'll be less than 6 minutes left when they snap the ball. Eleven personnel for the midshipmen. The give to Bright up the gut. He's met by a defender. He shrugs him off. The second one brings him down, but he falls forwards. Turns a 1-yard gain into 3 into 4 yards. So far today, Bright 15 carries for 54 tough yards. He's done the dirty work today for the Navy offense. $5:20 and counting. 2nd and 6, Navy football ahead by 18 points. Moss breaks it clear out to the left side. It's a touchdown on a 46-yard run. The second huge scamper by Peter Moss. And that extends the Navy lead to 24 points. It'll be 25 if they put the little pointed ball in between the tall metal things. Kick is up and good by Ewing. Ewing, formerly part of the cast of Dallas, taking some time off of the Ewing Ranch to handle special teams unit duties for the midshipmen. And the result of that big run and the extra by JR's nephew is a 28-3 lead. It's a 25-point margin. And Washington set to receive the kickoff. Eleven personnel. Buster Oliver shifting to his right, rolling to surveying and throwing deep, wide open. Busted coverage. And Chad Foster, a 75-yard touchdown pass. With 4:41 to play, Washington gets their first touchdown of the day. They're going to pull within 18 with the extra point. A little surprised they're not going for 2 here to pull within 17, but it goes through the uprights, and it is 28-10 Navy midshipmen. A small bright spot there for the Huskies, striking on a huge monster play. Unfortunately for them, they still trail by 3 scores. And Navy has the football with less than 5 minutes to play. Bare front from Washington. They squeeze the line looking for that inside run. Instead, Navy throws it out to the flat. Joe Bright picking up 6 yards on the reception. He's got 27 yards receiving to go with his 54 yards rushing. Gives him 81 yards on the day in combined offense. Now going to be 2nd and 4 from the 31-yard line as they break the hull. Navy ahead 28-10 over Coach SweetestCoin and his Washington Huskies, 14th in the country. Navy ranked 8th, trying to move back up the standings, up the rankings rather, as they throw it off to Williams. John Williams composes himself, makes the 9-yard catch. "39-yard line, the marker. 1st and 10 for the midshipmen." Coach Blitzkrieg, what are your thoughts on these recent turns of events?
You see, mathematically, it's unlikely for a full comeback, but I really like to see the fight all the way down, man. It's just, it's one thing to, have a game not go your way, but it's a whole nother thing to let, to commit yourself to that. I like the fact that he's going for it, and it says a lot about the coach of Washington. It really does.
Bright with a 5-yard carry up to 59 yards. If they're not careful, Navy might get him 70 yards to the.
This game, of course, brought to you by beer. Beer, it makes everything better.
For our East Coast affiliates, brought to you by Liquor, it's quicker. Pistol formation, full house in the backfield. Moss on the keeper, and he is off to the races again. There's a flag on the play, but Moss into the end zone, and we'll see who the flag is on. Another big broken run. Joe Bright called for clipping, and that'll move the ball 43 yards back. It'll be 2nd and 7. No, 57 yards from the end zone. It'll be Navy's 43-yard line. 2nd down, 7 to go. Second down, 7 yards, down in distance. Pistol full house backfield again. And the give to Bright up the gut, and Joe Bright picks up 4. He is all the way up to 63 yards. 47-yard line, the marker.
Coach Ninja keeping a keen eye on the clock here, keeping his plays in bounds, keeping it pretty tight. I think he recognizes that a comeback is unlikely, but he is not the sort to gamble with these sorts of things, and I do appreciate that about him. Especially not when he's holding all the cards.
He's as conservative in his play calling as he is in his. Caught by Joe Bright for a 5-yard gain. That's going to be a 1st down. Fresh set of plays for the midshipmen. "48-yard line for Navy. Now into Washington territory. You see the yardage there. Not a whole lot of difference in the yardage, but the turnovers came at key times, and Navy broken off enough big plays and had enough short fields that the yardage not indicative of the scoreline.
That'll bring up 2nd and 11.
For years I've been listening to the NCAA commentators talk about, making their dinner reservations. I finally get it because I'm fucking hungry.
Are you ready to make? Are you going to try to make your dinner reservations, or are you going to be late?
Yeah, I always thought that was the dumbest thing they ever said, and now I'm just like, I'm pretty hungry. Oh, now I get it.
Spread set now for Navy on 2nd and 11. Moss over the middle of the field to Reggie Henry, and the star tight end comes up with another catch. This one brings him to 5 receptions for 71 yards. Moss 15 out of 17 on the day. 29-yard line, and the clock's still running. Less than a minute to play. They give up the gut to Bright, and in the middle of the field, picks up 7. That is going to take him to 70 yards rushing. 7-0, 70 yards rushing for Joe Bright.
Fun fact of the day, when I played football in high school, 70 was my number.
Aha. Navy going to try to tack on a field goal here right at the very end. They're worried about the victory. The field goal seals the deal. A clutch kick by the midshipmen, bringing the final total to 31-10. And Navy, with a healthy defensive performance and a steady offensive one, wins the day by 21 points. 31-10, the final score. We'll turn over to some final game stats, some team stats, give you the rundown of the final story of this game before we sign off with another successful broadcast here in League One. Navy winning 31-10, edging in first downs, 25% more yardage, massive edge in rushing yardage. And of course, the victory in the turnover battle by a 2-1 scoreline. They forced Washington to go for 2 fourth downs. They spent one themselves. Theirs was successful for a touchdown. They were 7 of 9 on third down, and they emerged victorious 31-10 when it's all said and done. Time of possession, a good 5.5, almost a little bit over 5 minute edge by Navy in the time of possession battle. And that will do it. 31-10, the final score. Any final thoughts from you, Coach Blitzkrieg?
Well, it kind of goes back to what I was saying in the first quarter. We saw a lot of high-risk plays on the part of Washington, and some went their way and some didn't. I did think that they started reeling it in towards the latter half of the game, but unfortunately, I think their high-risk agenda wasn't up to par with the high strategic level that that we see from Coach Ninja. You know, Coach Ninja, I know, is a very scholarly man in general, but I know he really puts his time in, for planning out his games. And, he tends to outcoach a lot of people, myself included, and I think we saw that today.
Indeed, Navy wins a key top 25 user use. We'll take a look at next week's games for these two teams. Starting with the Washington Huskies in week 3, they will take on USC, the 4th-ranked Trojans. No rest for the weary. They're back at home in Seattle, but they take on a tough USC team that crunched them last season. That'll be a challenging game to try to rebound with for the Huskies. For their part, the Navy midshipmen off next week. They'll get a week to rest and recoup and reevaluate where they stand going into week 4. Week 4 for Navy on their next possible game with the bye week in week 3. Navy will be back on the field in 2 weeks' time to take on the Marshall Thundering Herd. The Herd last season upsetting Navy at Jones C. Edwards Stadium in Huntington, West Virginia by a 34-24 margin and giving Navy one of its only 2 losses on the year. We'll see if the midshipmen are ready for revenge in the home date against the Thundering Herd. We thank you for joining us for this exciting affair. Once again, the final score 31-10 in favor of the 8th ranked midshipmen. The winner with the number 14 ranked Huskies of Washington should see Navy with a potential to move up in the polls, although it's still early going. Still some undefeated teams ahead of them, but they certainly are securing their spot in the top 10 going into their next football game. And we anxiously await that in 2 weeks' time. We thank you for joining us for this game. We thank you for joining us for this League One broadcast. We hope that you have an excellent next week.